Imagine your favorite coworker. You know, your homie. You guys live in the same neighborhood, so they offer to drive you home sometimes. You've gone out for drinks a few times, brunch, gone on road trips to like long drives, meet with other coworkers. You invited them to your cookout. They done met your friends, your other friends, family members. You have mutual friends at work. Everyone knows them. You've known them for 2 years. They text you things like, "You're such a beautiful soul. I'm so glad we met." And it's your friend, like your homie, your cool ass coworker friend who you genuinely love, and you're also glad and thankful that you met. And now imagine them showing up to your house, unprovoked, with a big metal professional baseball bat, a bottle of dish liquid, and a bottle of rubbing alcohol in an attempt to unalive you in the most brutal way for absolutely no reason, where you then end up fighting for your life for 5 minutes for what felt like hours. I'm not that good at telling stories, so bear with me, please. But I wanted to come on here and share this because it kind of helps me heal in a way, and just to bring awareness to the situation, or to just, I don't know, share my story, because I'm sure there's people out there who can relate to what I went through and also like the aftermath of it. So yeah, stick around for part 2 and bear with me, please. It was premeditated, so I'm gonna bring you guys back to where I think it started. I was a set dresser for TV and film. We both worked for Local 52. They film for shows on Disney, Peacock, like Amazon, Apple TV. Like, they basically, like, anything that's being filmed in New York, it's ran through that company. And she was also a set dresser, and she was union. I was like a newbie. I'm also an actor, so I am a SAG actor, but I was not like, so I'm union as an actor, but I'm not union as a set dresser. I met her when I started working there, which was 2 years prior, and she was always so helpful. Like, I met her on one of my first jobs. I was always grateful for her. So yeah, fast forward to December 2023. She texts me and she's like, "Hey, can I borrow your filming lights? My cousin wants to shoot headshots, my little cousin." And I'm like, you know, like, my filming lights are expensive, but it's my friend, so like, I'm like, "Yeah, girl, no worries." This was like the beginning of December. But we never set a date, or did we? I don't remember if we set a date then. But anyway, I saw her again that same month, at the holiday party. We had a holiday party. She was there. She was normal. Like, there was something now that I look back, like, she was sitting, because we had it at some bowling alley on Times Square, so like everyone was there that I know from work. She was sitting in the bowling alley with one of my other friends who she didn't know that I knew. So I'm like, "Hey," and then one of my other coworkers walk over and they're like, "Hey, Tasha," and it's a guy. And when the guy came over, she was like, her energy was a little weird. Like, he kind of felt it, but I'm like, maybe she's in a bad mood. Like, I don't know what. I just ignored it. That's like the only red flag I can think of that I kind of ignored. But yeah, the night goes on. She offers to drive me home, and I had a ride, thank God. So I went home with one of my best friends. So yeah, then she hits me up the beginning of January 2024, and she's like, "Hey, can I come on the 12th? Yeah, that's when she asked me, "Can I come on the 12th to borrow the filming lights to shoot for my cousin?" And I'm like, "Yeah, girl, sure." So we fast forward. It's January 11th, the night before, and I'm like running around getting my nails done because I had something planned with one of my other friends, like, you know, like an event, like celebration, dinner, drinks. And she texted me like, "Hey, when can I come get the lights?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I thought you would say you were coming tomorrow." And that was it. Like, we didn't really set a date. I mean, a time. And also she lives like 15 minutes from me, and I was like just playing it by ear to see what time I got up, because I knew I was gonna be out drinking and like hungover the next day. So that night, like 3 a.m., I had a missed call from her, but I thought it was like a mistake. And I was also asleep, so I didn't even see that. So it's the next day. I wake up, I was out with my friend, like having a time, okay? I was hungover. When I say hungover, it's now January 12th. I wake up, I'm hungover as fuck. Like hungover, headache, guzzling down water, like popping the Tylenol. And then I'm like, damn, I'm thinking like, all right, I'm about to get myself together so I can text her and tell her to come get the lights. Before I can even like think, she starts FaceTiming me back to back to back. And I'm like, I didn't answer because one, I'm not someone that like answers unannounced FaceTime calls. I feel like that's so like intrusive. But so I just text her back and I'm like, hey girl, I was gonna tell you can come get the lights, whatever. I was out last night, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I'm downstairs. She texts me back like, I'm downstairs. And I'm like, oh, okay. And in my head, I'm like, damn, she must really want these lights. Let me make sure I give her these lights. And then she's like, what's your bell? And I'm like, oh, give me a chance to get myself together because, like, you know, I just woke up, like, I'm hungover. And then in my building, it was only 2 apartments. So before I even responded, I hear her ringing my neighbor's bell, ringing my bell. So I'm like, what the, like, all right. She's doing a little bit much, but let me just give her these damn filming lights, you know? So I buzz her in. Mind you, I'm naked in a robe, barefoot, hung over as fuck, headache, head pounding. And so my building, you had to like walk upstairs to come to my door. And I see her walking up the stairs, very calm. And I see a metal bat in her hands. But it didn't register that it was for me because we've never had beef, never had a fight, never had an argument, never fucked. Like, it wasn't like she was some crazy ex. You know what I'm saying? And she was so calm. So I'm like, maybe she was playing baseball. Like, I don't know. So I had the lights in my hand. I'm like, hey, girl, sorry. Like, I was hungover. Like, I'm handing her the lights. And she calmly, like, brushes past me. She's been to my house one other time. She calmly brushes past me. And she's like, what have you been doing in here? Why haven't you been answering the phone? And I was like, huh? Like, what? And then she goes in my room. She's looking around. It's like she's looking for someone. She also had a plastic bag in her hand and a metal bat in the other. I'm like, you good? Like, huh? And she's like, Tashay, what have you been doing in here? And I was like, girl, like, I didn't even know what to say because I was so confused. I was like stuttering, like, huh? And she started getting upset. So I'm still standing in my door, like by my door. My door is open. And I'm like, huh? Like, not even knowing what to say because I'm just confused. I'm thinking she high, drunk, like on drugs. Like, I don't know. And I'm like, girl, what do you mean? Like, you know, it was also like a Hollywood strike then. So everyone was like, you know, just like doing like side jobs. I'm like, well, we were like texting each other, updating each other. Like, she offered me like some gig, but I never went. I turned it down. And I'm like, girl, you know, the strike, like surviving, like, I'm so confused. But I was also like stuttering because I'm like, just in confusion. And then she's like, Tashay, she's still standing, mind you, I'm still standing by my door. Door's open. I'm holding it open, like, waiting for her to leave. And she's standing by my bedroom door because she's looking for someone. I guess she thought it was in there with someone. Like, I don't fucking know. And she started getting upset. She was like, Tashay, you know what? You know what? She goes inside the plastic bag she had, pulls out a bottle of dish liquid. I have wooden floors. She starts throwing the dish liquid on the floor. Okay? Once I saw her doing that, it registered like, oh, bitch, that bat is for you. Like, she came to fuck you up. Like, so I'm like, I'm trying not to say her. You gotta go. I'm trying not to say her name. But I'm like, you gotta go. Like, I don't know what you want right now, but you gotta go. And she's like, you know what? She's throwing it around. I'm like, you need to leave. Like, you need to leave. And yeah, she takes out the bottle of alcohol. She puts it on like one of my tables I had in the living room, because my living room is connected to my kitchen, like kind of like studio style. She picks up the bat, she swings it at me. I grab it. I think it hit me. Like, a lot of it was a blur, but so I grabbed the bat, and at this point we're just fighting for the bat. Like, she's holding on to the bat, I'm holding on to the bat, I'm screaming, help, help, like. And in my building, it was only 2 apartments, and my neighbors weren't home, and I had someone renting out the room. Like, my roommate wasn't home, so it was just me in that entire fucking building, screaming bloody murder, like screaming, help, help, like somebody help, like screaming. Okay, like. So we're fighting for the bat. I'm slipping because I'm barefoot, I'm hungover as fuck. At one point, I was holding on to the bat, she's holding on to the bat, I'm holding on to my kitchen sink, like, for balance. Couldn't even stand. I'm like literally slipping. We're fighting, tussling around the living room. That shit was like Tyler Perry mixed with Lifetime. Like, I'm a creative. Like, I've written like short films, and I like to think of myself as a pretty creative person, but even I could not think of no shit like this. So anyway, we're fighting, I'm screaming, and in her face, she's just like the person I knew was out to lunch. She was like in a manic episode. Like, her eyes were blank. It was like she was possessed. Okay, the person I knew was not in that room. Okay, she was out to lunch in that moment, and I'm screaming, we're fighting, tussling, and I was in shock. Like, I've told people this story, and they're like, oh girl, I would have grabbed this and did that. And it's like, when you're in shock, it takes your brain a while to process things, and my brain couldn't process what was going on. So I was in shock for most of it. I remember looking over on my kitchen counter and seeing scissors and thinking like, damn, I should grab the scissors and stab her with it. But in my head, I'm like, I don't want to kill my friend. Still thinking that while this bitch is trying to kill me. So we're tussling. I'm screaming. When I say screaming, I've never screamed like that in my life. Like, help, help, somebody call her. Like, screaming. And it was the most powerless feeling. Like, I don't wish that feeling on anyone. I'm begging her to stop, asking her what's wrong. I'm like, please stop. So we both still have our hands on the bat. She takes one hand off the bat and she grabs my neck, and it's why I have this scar here. It's her handprint. I don't know if you guys can see it. She starts choking the fuck out of me. Okay, and the shockness didn't start wearing off until I found myself losing consciousness. She was choking me so hard, it was burning. She tore into layers of my skin. This was all white meat. Like, it was like she tore into like 2 or 3 layers of my skin. It was just flesh and blood dripping down my neck. And her face, she was just like it was the most evil fucking face. And I was just confused because this is my friend that I love, and I don't know, I couldn't understand why she was doing that. So once I started feeling myself losing consciousness, that's when it clicked. Like, the shockness wore off, and I realized, like, you're about to die. You're about to die. Like, the lights are about to go out. You're about to die. So then I got strength out of nowhere, and I was just like, you got the wrong fucking bitch. And then the Bronx jumped out, because I'm from the Bronx, but I like to, I try to keep that side of me tamed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I try to keep it cute. But the Bronx jumped out, and I got strength out of nowhere. I sobered the fuck up, and I pushed that bitch so hard, she fell onto my couch. So that's when I ran into my room. I locked the door. Okay? I'm in my room looking. I see my work blade. I see my sword. Like, don't ask me why I have a sword from Amazon in my room, but I'm like looking for weapons. And then I remember that I left my phone in the fucking bathroom. So I'm like, shit. I'm like trying to find a game plan, preparing to go out for round 2. So then I open my laptop, and I'm like, oh. And I'm whispering like, Siri, hey Siri, call 911. And she's like, I'm sorry, what was that? And I'm like, Siri, call 911. She's like, I'm sorry. I tried her like 4 times. The bitch was not working. And after that day, like, side note, after that day, I tried that, and she called right away on the first time. But for some reason that day, the bitch wanted me dead too. Siri wanted me gone. Okay? So then I just pretended I was on the phone. I'm like, 911, my name is Tashi, blah, blah, blah. My coworker is trying to kill me, blah, blah, blah. I live in blah, blah, blah. Like, and then I'm like saying it loud enough, and I'm like yelling, like, you're going to jail. And she was like pacing back and forth. I could see her shoes. I'm like, you're going to jail. Like, the cops are coming. And she's like, I'm not going to jail. I'm not going to jail. And I see her feet pacing back and forth. So then she hears me like giving them the address and stuff. And then I hear my apartment door open and close. So I'm like, did she leave? So I grabbed my work blade, grabbed my Amazon sword, and I opened the door. I like peeked out my room. I peeked in my roommate's room to make sure she wasn't in there. I peeked in the bathroom, and she wasn't there. So I ran and locked the door, and then I called the police. Okay. Now, let me tell y'all how my experience with the NYPD made this whole situation even more dramatic and worse. Like, and also with my job. So she leaves. I go in the bathroom, grab my phone. I call 911 for real. They come. I had to go downstairs to let them in, to let them into my building. But when I went downstairs, I saw that it was like 4 police officers, and she had vandalized my apartment door. It was like white stuff all over the building door, the side of the building. Once I figure out how to like screen grab or whatever the fuck on here, I'm gonna try to show y'all. And they're like, oh, what's going on? And mind you, I'm barefoot, like naked, in a robe, still in shock, neck dripping blood. And I was like, my coworker, like, I'm telling them, they're like, did she do this? I'm like, they're asking like what happened to the front of the building. I'm like, I guess she did this too. This wasn't here before. It was just white stuff like splattered all over the front of the building. So then 2 of them come upstairs with me, and I sit on my couch, and they're just like standing in the living room, and they're like, do you want to put some clothes on? Because I was in shock, so I did not realize my robe was open. Like, they saw all my goods. Okay, like, yeah. So I'm sitting there telling 2 of the officers, and they just kept asking me, was it domestic violence? Was it domestic violence? I said no like 3 times, and they kept asking me that. I thought I was lying. They thought she was like a lover or something, and I'm like, no, it wasn't. I wish it was, because I would have been more prepared if it was some crazy ex showing up to my house with the fucking bag. I would have closed the door before she got up the fucking stairs. You know, like, this wouldn't even have happened, or I would have fucked her up. Like, I would have been more prepared. And I'm like, no, like, it wasn't. It's my coworker. I'm provoked. No reason. She pretended she was borrowing lights, and she attacked me. And I did mention the rubbing alcohol that she put on the table, because I was thinking, like, why did she bring up? So she had a dish liquid that was thrown on the floor, which is why I was slipping everywhere while I was fighting her. But the bottle of rubbing alcohol, that is like a torture tactic. Like, that's what you bring. People were saying they think it's because, like, when you pour it into someone's wounds to torture them, you know? Like, just fucking sick. The bitch thought she was Jeffrey Dahmer. Okay? Anyways, I'm giving them the report. They're like, oh, you can pick up the report tomorrow, whatever. This was a Friday. Or they're gonna send it, or detectives are gonna reach out to you, call you, something they said. So Monday comes, I get no phone call, I didn't hear anything. So Tuesday comes, I call them, and I'm like, hey. Also, when I was telling them the report, they were writing it down like it was a fucking parking ticket. They had no remorse, no empathy. They did not give not 1, 2 fucks. Okay, mind you, I'm there, neck bleeding, my apartment was in shambles, my filming light on the floor, the floor is slippery as hell, dish liquid. I'm gonna post that too once I figure out how. Anyway, they leave. Fast forward to Tuesday. Still no call. So I called the precinct near my house. And I was calling like all week. Almost 2 weeks I was calling, asking like for my report, updates, like when can I come pick it up? Like, and they were like, oh, the officer that took your report is on vacation, so we have to wait till he comes back. I'm like, what? This person is out free, and you're telling, like, isn't he supposed to hand his work to someone else if he's going on vacation? That shit was just crazy. So I had to keep calling them. I went down there like once or twice before, and there was a time, I think within those 2 weeks, or like adding up to the second week, detectives, no one called me. They rung my bell. Mind you, I'm going through it. I'm in my house by myself. My roommate is never really home. Like, she was always traveling. I couldn't go to work. Like, I was traumatized as fuck. So then my doorbell rings. I look out my window, because I can see downstairs, and I see like 2 white men in suits. But I'm just so traumatized in like this dark ass space. I'm just like, I didn't answer because they didn't call and tell me they were coming, and I'm just not opening the door unannounced anymore. So I didn't answer. And then once they were driving away, I'm like, oh wait, that could have been the detectives. So I called the precinct again. I asked them, one of the detectives come to the phone. He's like, yeah, we were just there. My other partner went. He clocked out, and I was like, yeah, I saw you guys out the window, but I didn't know who you were, so I didn't answer. He was like, oh, you should have answered. I'm like, well, I'm traumatized. If someone's coming to my house unannounced, I'm not gonna answer, considering what happened the last time. I thought I was getting a call before you guys showed up. Like, I didn't know who you were. So yeah. A few days after that, I get another call from another detective, and they're like, oh, we got her, like, we arrested her. I'm like, oh, great. It was like in the morning. At the end of the day, not even the end of the day, a few hours later, I get another call from another cop at the precinct. They're like, yeah, so we got her, but we just let her go. She just seems mentally unstable. Mind you, this precinct is like 5 blocks from my house. I'm like, you let her go? So what are the consequences? Like, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a DA reach out to you, blah blah blah, and it's gonna have to go through like people's court or whatever the fuck. So I'm like, okay. Weeks go by. Mind you, I had to leave my apartment within 3 weeks. My roommate moved out. She didn't feel safe, which is understandable. I had to figure out where to move, because it's like I couldn't heal in that apartment. And also the person that did this lived like 15 minutes from me. They weren't in jail. There were no consequences. Who knows if the bitch was gonna try to do it again? And I was like, that was the most traumatic thing. I was in the darkest place, no peace, you know. And it's like, she didn't take my life, but she took my sense of security, you know. So I just didn't feel safe anywhere or around anyone. Anyway, I had to keep calling the DA office, district attorney, emailing them, and they told me that they weren't even gonna charge her with like assault or something. It was just gonna be a misdemeanor. And I'm like, why won't you charge her with strangulation? Like, she injured me. They're like, oh, it's the same thing as what we're charging her with. I'm like, but it's not, because you're charging her as a misdemeanor instead of a felony. Like, strangulation is a felony. But it's like, they don't want us to do their job. No one cared. Like, at all. I think she probably got community service or something. Nothing happened to her. I had to move. My world was turned upside down. Couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. It profoundly affected my daily life and independence. Things like going to the store, getting on the train. Like, I couldn't do anymore. I couldn't sleep. I was having nightmares about random people I know just stabbing me in the head with pencils, or dreams about getting stabbed or just create the craziest, most gruesome like nightmares, and I had no fucking peace. Yeah, let me tell y'all about how I reached out to my job, Local 52. Okay, one of the bosses. Child. Yeah, let me tell y'all about how I reached out to my job, Local 52. Okay, one of the bosses. Child. So I call one of my best friend's dad, who also works in the industry. He's worked in the industry for a while. And I tell him what happened, and he calls one of the bosses for me, and he's like, yeah, I told her, like, we're gonna call her and like reach out to her. This is the boss, reach out to the boss. So I reach out to the boss. I call her. She didn't call me back. I leave her a voicemail. She doesn't call me back. I text her. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna call you back on Wednesday. Wednesday comes, she doesn't respond. So then I'm like, maybe she thinks this was just like a fight, like we had like beef or something. So I text her, like, not like in depth about what happened, but I tell her, you know, this is someone that is mentally unstable, and I met her while working for you under a contract, and we have, as a set dresser, you're building TV sets, you have all types of weapons on you, saws, knives, like drill guns. So having her there is a liability. That boss ghosted me. I was texting, calling, I just gave up. So that, my coworker who did this, she probably still works there. And I think because I wasn't union, like you can only lose your job if you attack another union member. And my coworker was union, but I wasn't. So I'm like, maybe that's why they didn't care. But it's just fucked up. Also, film production, even behind the scenes, you know how they say Oscar's so white? It's the same thing, even in production, behind the scenes, like behind the camera. As a minority, and my coworker was a black woman also. She was also one of the only, like, very few black women that I met working that job, which is why we connected. Well, we connected on a lot of things, but that was, like, one of them. And I really feel like if I was a white woman, like, not to even bring up the race card, like, whether I was union or not, like, had this black coworker did this to a white woman that worked for them under a contract and met this person who did this, they would have at least taken my call. You know what I'm saying? And it just made me feel so much worse. I'm like, damn, like, I really felt like my life did not matter in that moment. It was very traumatic. I had to go to therapy. I started taking kickboxing classes, just anything I could think of to help me just gain my power back and get stronger. And it's like, it doesn't feel good to be violated in that way. My life was turned upside down for months. Like, I was never the same person, and it doesn't feel good to be violated in that way and to have a near-death experience, someone come into your home and just violate you and get away with it and have no consequences. And I feel like I called the police for no reason. Like, now I see why victims take things into their own hands, because I really feel like I called the police for no reason. And then I found out from another coworker that she's been in and out of psych wards. My coworker, she's been in and out of psych wards. She's been arrested like 4 or 5 times, and she's done this before to some guy she was dating. Showed up to his house with a knife because he wasn't answering the phone, and they just put her in psych and let her back out. But she was so nice and so cool. There were no real signs. People at work, when I would tell them, when I would like let them know what happened, they would be like, they wouldn't believe me. They're like, are you sure? She's so nice and personable. I'm like, yes, that's why we were cool. But the bitch thought she was Jeffrey Dahmer. She really did. And I went through so many stages of grief. Like, I grieved who I was before that happened, because I'll never be that person again. The life I had before that happened, I really loved my neighborhood and where I lived. I wasn't ready to leave, but for my safety and for my peace and my mental health, I had to. I couldn't heal in that apartment. And I did not want to be on the internet crying. But yeah, this happened last January 12th, last year. And it's something that still affects me, and I feel like it'll affect me for the rest of my life. I have taken my power back. I don't feel as like, I'm not as anxious. I'm not, yeah, just as anxious when I'm outside, when I'm around people, when I'm in crowds now. Also, side note, I do have a restraining order. And that's pretty much it. I think, like I said, I think she just got community service from what the district attorney told me. I checked out after that. I didn't even care to keep up. So basically, yeah, she's free to do it to someone else, pretty much. As far as the job, they ghosted me. So she could be back at work, working on TV and film sets, and they don't do background checks for jobs like that. So you're working with all kinds of psychos, which is kind of crazy, but yeah. I'm very grateful that I was able to heal and keep faith in God and in myself. And sometimes you don't know why things happen. And I won't say I'm grateful that it happened, but I'm definitely stronger, smarter. I have stronger discernment. I know how to kickbox. I know how to knock a bitch out if I need to, or a man. But that situation taught me that a bad situation or having a bad time doesn't mean a bad life. 2 months after that happened to me, I was in a really dark place, and even like being an actor, I was just like, damn, is this my life? Like, is this what life is? Like, is this my story? Like, is this not my story? You know, and 2 months after that, I booked one of the biggest roles that I have had to date. And I feel like it was just God reminding me, like, I got you. You know, like, this is not where your story ends. This is not all your story is. And I had to grieve a lot who I was before that. The friendship I had with her, because I genuinely loved her. The life I had before that. I loved my neighborhood. I wasn't ready to move at all. Just not understanding things, having no peace, like no mental peace at all. Not even to walk to the store. It really was the worst place to be in. And just thinking about how I begged her for my life. Like, begging someone for your life is the most powerless feeling. I don't wish that feeling on anyone. Like, screaming, like, please, please stop. Like, please. I just wanted to come on here and share this. It really sucks to be violated in that way, and for someone to just get away with it while your world is turned upside down, and something that will affect you for the rest of your life. Obviously, it still affects me. You're never 100% healed. And I'm an actor, so at least I'll always have a pocket to pull out of when I need to cry. Yeah, but that's my story. And that's what happened to me.